Have you ever found yourself clinging to someone even when the relationship no longer feels right? You keep wondering, why am I holding on so tightly to this relationship? Is this love, or am I just afraid of losing someone I've become emotionally attached to? And you kept asking yourself, am I staying because I love this person, or because I'm scared to let go? Or maybe deep down, you feel something is off, but you can't seem to walk away? If you've ever wrestled with these feelings, you're not alone, and you're in the right place. This video is for you. Welcome back to The Passion Bond, where we explore the depths of love and relationships. Today on The Passion Bond, we're exploring one of the most confusing emotional crossroads in relationships. Is it true love or emotional attachment? Many experience this question, but few understand it. These feelings often look the same on the surface, but couldn't be more different underneath. The difference may be subtle, but understanding it can spare you years of emotional confusion and heartbreak. Stay with us because what you're about to learn could transform your perspective on your relationship. This insight is not intended to pull you apart from your partner, but to strengthen your connection and help you realize your identity. Let me tell you a story. Clara met James at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. They connected instantly. Within months, they were in love, or so she thought. They spent nearly every day together. They planned for the future, dreamed of building a life, and even talked about marriage. Everything seemed perfect. 4 years on, things have changed. The spark began to fade. They barely laughed together anymore. Communication had turned into an obligation. Clara often left feeling alone, even when James was sitting beside her. And yet, she couldn't bring herself to leave. Why? Because the thought of losing James filled her with panic. She feared loneliness. She feared starting over. And more than anything, she feared the idea that no one else would love her the way he once did. One night, Clara finally asked herself, is this love? Do I truly love him? Or am I just attached to the idea of who we used to be? Am I scared of being without him? Confusion kept ringing in her head about her relationship status. And that question unlocks something deeper. Something many people ignore for far too long. That moment of self-reflection became the turning point in her journey. It's the same question you might be facing now. So how do we tell the difference between love and emotional attachment? 1. Understanding emotional attachment. Emotional attachment is a natural human response. We all want to feel close to others. But when attachment becomes rooted in fear, insecurity, or loneliness, it can distort our view of love. Emotional attachment often develops when we depend on others to meet emotional needs we haven't fulfilled within ourselves. This attachment stems from a fear of abandonment, low self-worth, or a desire to avoid loneliness. Take Paul, for example. He was dating Maria. He panicked when she needed space, or took a little longer to respond to his messages. His mind raced with thoughts like, is she ignoring me? Has she stopped loving me? That's not love talking, that's fear. He didn't want to control her, but his need for constant reassurance turned into emotional pressure. Paul didn't love Maria for who she was. He was emotionally dependent on the security she provided. That dependency masked itself as love, but it was an emotional attachment. 2. What does real love feel like? Now let's talk about real love, not the fairy tale kind, but the steady, grounded kind that lasts. Love is secure and free. It is not restrictive. Love respects personal space, nurtures growth, and seeks the best for both individuals involved. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and personally. When you love someone, you feel secure even when they're not around. You don't need them to constantly reassure you of their love because the connection is based on trust. You want to see them grow, even if that occurs outside your relationship. You support their dreams, even when they're different from yours. You know that your identity is whole, with or without them. Love doesn't suffocate, it breathes. When an attachment is driven by the fear of losing someone, love is driven by the joy of giving, understanding, and growing with that person. 3. How to tell the difference, a clear breakdown. So how do you know if what you're feeling is love or just attachment? Let's look at the core differences. Emotional attachment often shows up when you feel incomplete without the other person. You feel anxious when they're not around. You fear their absence more than you enjoy their presence. The relationship becomes your entire identity. If your partner leaves, you'll lose a piece of yourself. On the other hand, love comes from a place of emotional wholeness. You love your partner not because they fill a void, but because they complement who you already are. You're okay when they need space. You don't feel the need to control or cling. You trust them, and more importantly, you trust yourself. Here's a key truth. Attachment says, I need you to be okay. Love says, I want you to be happy, even if it's not with me. Attachment is about possession. Love is about connection. Attachment panics in silence. Love is patient in the quiet. The attachment says, don't leave me. Love says, I want the best for you. This comparison reveals the core difference. Love gives, attachment takes. 4. Signs you're emotionally attached, not in love. Still unsure where you stand? Often we conflate emotional attachment with intensity, but intensity doesn't always equate to intimacy. Be mindful of these warning signs that what you're experiencing might be attachment rather than love. 1. You feel anxious without constant contact. A day without their message, you panic. That's an attachment. 2. You constantly need reassurance. Without their constant I love you, you feel unworthy. 3. You stay in the relationship because of fear of being alone, not because it makes you truly happy. 4. You've lost your own identity. Your hobbies, friends, and dreams have all taken a back seat to the relationship. 5. You tolerate disrespect or mistreatment, convincing yourself that love means enduring pain. 6. You feel empty when they're not around, like your happiness depends solely on their presence. 7. You pressure them to meet your emotional needs. Rather than finding balance, you demand, cling, and control to feel secure. These are strong indicators that your emotional connection might be more about fear and dependency than genuine love. 5. How to move from attachment to real love. If you see yourself in any of these signs, don't worry. This isn't the end. Many people begin relationships with attachment and slowly grow into love. But it starts with you if you're willing to do the inner work. Here's how. 1. Start with self-love. Learn to value and care for yourself independently of anyone else. Do things that make you feel alive, confident, and strong. Your partner should add to your life, not define it. 2. Reclaim your identity. Rediscover your hobbies, passions, social life, and dreams. You are much more than just your role in a relationship. 3. Give space to yourself and your partner. Healthy relationships require breathing room. Let go of the urge to monitor or control every moment. 4. Communicate from a place of love, not fear. Talk openly about your emotions without placing blame. Vulnerability creates connection. 5. Set boundaries and respect theirs. Boundaries build trust and reinforce mutual respect for love to flourish without suffocation. 6. Heal past wounds. If your attachment issues come from old pain, whether childhood or previous relationships, consider therapy or coaching. Healing the root can change the entire experience. 6. The outcome of Clara's awakening. So what happened to Clara? After her moment of thought, she made a bold choice. She started therapy, began journaling daily, reached out to old friends, and took a solo trip to explore parts of herself she hadn't seen in years. As time passed, Clara discovered strength in her solitude and peace by letting go and ending her relationship with James. Not out of anger, but with clarity. She realized she was not in love with James, but with the comfort he had once offered her. But the best part? A year later, Clara met someone new. Not out of fear or desperation, but from a place of peace. This new relationship was different. It was built on trust, mutual growth, and emotional connection. Not fear, not dependency, just love. So now I'll ask you the same question Clara asked herself. Are you staying because you love your partner? Or are you afraid of what life will look like without your partner? If that question made your heart skip a beat, lean into that feeling. Sit with it, reflect on it. Because in that answer lies the truth about your relationship and yourself. Thank you for spending time with the Passion Bond. If this video has helped you gain clarity or insight, please like, share, and subscribe for more impactful content that aids you in building better, deeper, and healthier relationships. And let's keep this conversation going. Drop a comment below. Have you ever mistaken attachment for love? How did you come to realize the truth? Until next time, remember that love is not a possession. Love is not fear. Love is freedom. Keep growing, keep loving, and keep bonding the right way. And you deserve nothing less.